I appreciate everybody joining and taking the time to learn a little bit more about ITrack Enterprise and some of the ways that the actual desktop software can help aid the sales process. Most of you are seasoned users of ITrack Enterprise, and so rather than kind of going through some high-level stuff, there were three really specific areas that I wanted to focus on today. The first of which is the price quote system. So we'll talk a little bit about how you can use price quoting to manage and organize your contacts with customers, manage callbacks, and also start to manage the lost sales that are the system that's available as well. Let me share my screen here and we'll get started. All right, great. So this is the ITrack Enterprise system. We've got the demo system up here that we will be walking through today. As you all know, iSoft Data Systems, makers of ITrack Pro, ITrack Enterprise. We also manage HeavyTruckParts.net, which I think all of you know. We also have ITrack Mobile LX. I think many of you have been exposed to this. There are some future webinars and podcasts coming up about that, as well as some of the sales dashboarding that we've been building here at iSoft Data. So I encourage you to attend those as well. We've got some really good data visualization that we've been working on over this last cloistered year. And so reach out and find out more about that. Any of the stuff we talk about today, I just want to also say, you can contact support. So if you don't remember the specifics of where I was or exactly what screen or what button I was talking about or poking at, feel free to contact Justin, Alex, any of the guys in support that can help with that. And we can get you set up with some one-on-one time to go more specifically through that. We're also going to be looking at how to insert videos into parts and how that's accomplished through the Q&A fields, and we're going to talk a little bit about Q&A and how that helps with sales. If you don't have a YouTube channel set up for your business already, and need to set one up so that you can do recordings of engines running or do walkarounds of vehicles or large assemblies, that's also something you can contact us about, and we'll help you get that set up so you can easily link video into your parts. I'm going to go ahead and jump back into the system here. We're going to talk about price quotes. I've already said that. I kind of alluded to the fact that we're going to talk a little bit about the Q&A fields and how those really set you apart. We use an algorithm on HeavyTruckParts.net, much like Google, to determine the quality of a part listing. There's no secret, there's no trick, there's no gaming or cheating. It simply comes down to who's filled in the most and best information, who's included the most photos, and who is kind of aggressively adding and selling parts off of the website. So that's really the magic sauce. It used to just be by price alone, but we've kind of added some complexity to that to not only make it a little more fair, but also market parts a little more relevantly for you. And so we're going to talk about how Q&A plays a part in that today. And then finally, we'll look a little bit at the customer contact functionality. It's been there for a while, but we don't really talk about it or demonstrate it a lot. So I want to talk about it's a light CRM system that's built into the software, and I want to talk a little bit about how that functions, how you can assign contacts out. Maybe that's the big takeaway today, is that a sales manager can actually assign future contacts that his sales staff can then sit down and from this home screen here look at who do I need to make phone calls to today to keep the parts moving. So we'll look a little bit at that functionality as well. So let's go ahead and just dive right in. I want to talk a little bit about price quotes and how they're relevant and how to use them, and then how to write a lost sale from them. It should be kind of short and sweet. If there are questions, go ahead and submit those in the chat. We'll get to them during the Q&A section. I'll go back into the software and we can poke at things to give some answers at that time. Or again, feel free to reach out to support at another time to get a private walkthrough of how the functionality works. So price quotes, a lot like sales orders in general. I think most of you are aware that we have three basic types of sales orders: invoices, price quotes, and hold orders. There's lots of other kinds of names you can use and functions for a sales order, but those are the three basic types with basic functionality. Hold orders, of course, will allocate or hold inventory. Invoices will do the same. Price quotes are really just a callback notice or a placeholder to say, hey, this person reached out, had some interest. I need to make sure I follow back up with them. So to write a price quote, it works really the same way that invoicing works. The first step is to say, the customer calls in and says, well, I'm looking for an engine assembly. I've got these specific specifications that came off of Kenworth. I'm looking for a Cummins ISX. Do you guys have one of those? I see that I have a core. I don't necessarily have one off of a Kenworth, but I've got this one here, the Cummins ISX that came out of the Freightliner Cascadia, of all things. I'll send it over to, let me back up here a second and send that over with either the button to my sales order screen, or I'll right click and send that over to my sales order screen from here. It opens up, it pops that on. You notice that the core line goes on there. That's great. That's how we expect it to behave. It defaults to price quote when I do that, because that is the last thing that I had open on this screen. So many of you will notice that whatever the last thing you did is how the screen will open again. That's great. It opens right to price quote. You notice that I've got an expiration date on there. We'll talk about that in a second. Tony's calling me to ask some questions about this engine. So I've done business with him before. I've got some notes on here. Hey, don't take checks from Tony. It might be a risk. Good guy, but sometimes maybe the checks don't clear. So I've got that note on his account. I've got the sale queued up. I'm really going to insist on getting a deposit from him. So until he's got a deposit for me on this, I'm going to leave it as a price quote. So I talked to Tony. He says, yeah, I think I need to make a couple of phone calls, see what I'm going to do. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave it as a price quote. We won't change it to a hold order or yet put it to an invoice where I'm ready to take some money on it. So as a price quote here, you'll notice there's the expiration date. You can change that. The expiration date just means that it will automatically close and kind of fall away into the background. I can push that out or bring it in if I want to. You'll notice that the hold orders have a different date range on that. You guys can set different date ranges to behave differently between the SO types. Invoices have no date. They never expire. So once it gets there, it's not going to go away until it's either finalized or closed out as a lost sale. So I've got my price quote, won't expire till 8/14. That's great. I'm going to save it. Come back out, ask me if I want to email a notification of this document to the customer's default salesperson. At this time, I'm not going to do that, but I definitely can. If I click yes, it will use the particular email client that I'm using, and it'll email that out to the client along with the information. I'm gonna leave it there for now. Come back to my home screen, refresh it on price quotes. There's the price quote that I just created. Straightforward enough. You guys all know how to do that. If I want to at this point then set up a bunch of price quotes, I can use the headers across the top to kind of sort those out and say, when was this created? Who is this signed for? Managed by date. And at this point, I really suggest that during those slow moments when your staff maybe doesn't, the phone isn't ringing or there's nothing to go out in the yard and pull or pick, have them sort back through using the date column, back through those price quotes, and go back in and do callbacks this way. call those customers back pretty aggressively, 24 hours after, 72 hours after, shoot emails out to them in between. It really does make a difference to follow up, especially considering that part sales are a point of purchase sale. They have a need. They're not window shopping. It isn't like retail, somebody looking for flip-flops. They have to have what you've got. So the more aggressive you are with closing that sale, the more likely you are to turn this into an invoice. At the point that it becomes an invoice, I think everybody understands how that works. You change the document type on that. It's just that simple. You add a payment to it, click the finalize button, show your print options. You can print your copies of invoice, you save it, and away it goes. That's how to change it to an invoice. If it's a price quote and you call Tony back and he says, nah, I found another one, you didn't catch me in time, sorry, maybe next time, then you can close that price quote out. So I'm gonna close it out, hit save, and it says, hey, you're choosing to close this. This will cancel the document and remove it from view. Would you prefer to convert it to a lost sale? Yeah, I am going to do that. In fact, I'm going to follow the prompt. Again, it gives me the email notification. Nope, that's okay. I'm going to close out of that, and it converts this. At this time, it will convert that to a lost sale. The value of that, now at this point, I can come in and put in internal comments in here and say, Johnny found a better price. Still saves on the document, even though it's closed. I can save those notes to there. The value of converting these to a lost sale is that at the end of the week, month, year, you can run a lost sale report out of the report viewer, and it'll show you not only everything that, all those lost sales, but what was on them, what the inventory was, and what the pricing was on those. So you can start to do some forensics on why you've got so many price quotes that are converting to lost sale, vice versa. If nothing ever goes to lost sale out of those price quotes, maybe you can be a little more firm on price with those people that are calling. But if you don't note it, if you don't build the quotes, you don't know what's actually happening across the sales counter. So I encourage everybody to ask the counter sales, ask sales to really use the price quote system. And of course, if it's a new customer, always capture that customer information. I hear all the time that hey, we'll probably never do business with that guy again. You just never know. 3, 5, 7 years down the road, if you will, and what you will find out and know from that. Oh, you've got a fleet. Oh, you've got 10 trucks. It's not just a one-time thing. So save your customer records, create a customer record, even if it's somebody you don't think you'll see again. Take the minute and a half it takes through the customer list to add a customer in. Make sure that you get Bob and that Bob's Trucks at least capture the name of the company and as much information as you can about him. If you can get a phone number, that's best. If you can get an address, even better. But save a basic record, and then again from there you can it's just as quick to do that, and then I can throw that customer on my price quote, get my invoice, get my inventory on there, and record it. So let's move on from that. Price quote's pretty simple. I think most of you have a good grasp of how that works to begin with, but I wanted to put a plug in for that because I think it does help keep track of sales and helps drive callbacks. When the sales counter looks slow and sleepy, make them go back through the price quotes and beat the bushes a little bit.